Good morning, good afternoon, and happy Choppy Tuesday. As I'm sure you probably saw out there today, it was a pretty uneventful, tricky day. I could hardly get anything going today. It is a green day, small green day. I traded well. I've got some good trades over on PHGE, and hey, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with GITS. I'm happy with a few others we'll look at. But today was tough, and really, I just could not get anything going. Yes, I have PHGE for a pretty nice move up into the first halt out of the open, but, or the second halt, I should say. But it was tough, man. And it's like, so I'm going to walk through the mental hurdles that I deal with on days like today, how you can overcome those mental hurdles. That way you can still stay alive on days like today when things are just not really providing. So today going in the market open, we had a few setups here. We had NUWE, IVF, and NAMM. Now, only one of those had really set criteria, and we'll look at those. And honestly, it's one of those really tricky days where nothing just really wanted to get going. IVF, I said I was watching over 218. Guess what? This thing never got breaking over 218. Highest this got out of the bell was off 214. Could not get going over that flat top high. So no dice. Next, we had NAMM, which I wanted to watch it as well out of the open for a breakout higher. And guess what? No dice. This goes fading out of the bell and just fade, 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 fade. And then we had NUWE, which, hey, it did what I wanted it to do, and I was really wanting to play this. So as you saw on the pre-market watch list, watch it over 490, then look for pullbacks. And I'm green on this, but I didn't really get much of a move. And so I was looking, I'll show you here in the larger time frames. It'll be a bit easier to see. I was looking for a squeeze back up through VWAP on this because we have these higher lows put in here out of the bell. And again, we have this, look at this, perfect higher low, beautiful higher high, almost this megaphone pattern, tons of range. Of course, up into daily, or not, up into past supply, we'd run into some issues, as you can see through here. But we still had some nice room here. If we got squeezing up through VWAP, I was looking for the pop-up into these mid, 535 to 5 to 6. So I'm looking for the squeeze up at the bell up into this past high range from pre-market, which we just didn't get. So I kept shooting shots. Those shots are just apparently fire in blanks because I didn't really get a move here. As you can see, I'm playing it out of the bell off these pullbacks, 480 to 490s. And again, 470s back to 478. And so I'm just base hit. It's not wanting to go, so I just go ahead and sit back. So nothing here. I tried to get it going. It just didn't really want to get going. And so just that was that. Moving on from that, I went straight to PHGE because while I was trading NUWE, this had halted up out of the bell. And so we look back at the levels from pre-market, which we can go on back and look at. And again, we had a fairly, well, similar setup here. Pretty wide channel here as we're watching out of the bell. And so we saw it break out here. Look at this. We have, of course, these lower highs here from pre-market. We break back above. I was like, well, can we get a move back up into top of its range from pre-market? Let's look for that. Cool. And I actually did get a pretty nice move. It didn't give me a nice follow-through. Price action here sucked. It really did. And we can even see here. Out of the first halt, we resume high. This thing knifes. Look at this. This thing resumes up here at 680. Knifes all the way down to 613. So then it flips down and then flips back over the highs. And as it does flip back over the highs, that's where I got my entry. As you can see here, this gets going back over the previous high of day. I nail an entry off the pullback, risking off the 90 MA. Overall, I'm in there at 7. I'm risking off 680, 20 cents of risk. And you got to move here all the way up into the 7/8 into a halt. And so this gets gapping up higher. It gets stuck in a halt here. I get my stops raised here to the bottom of this candle, make sure it follows through, and I get a pretty nice move here. And so I'm happy with that. Again, price action sucked. We had like 6 or 7 cent spread on this, so not ideal, but still have a pretty good play on this. So again, I'm happy with this. Again, I can't complain. This is a pretty good trade. Simple little dip and rip as it broke over the previous high of day. Can't complain. Because right here, what this tells us is, hey, we try to break out. Look at this. Dumps. And then buyers step back in and takes it back over the previous high. Cool. Of course, sentiment has flipped. Buyers are in control. I want to take this. And so I went ahead and grabbed that there for the little pullback entry on the break at the high. And was able to do quite well. So that was that on PHGE I'm happy with. But as you can see, price action stunk the rest of the morning. Could not do anything else with this. So you had the first 10 minutes, and that was pretty much it on this. Then we had XHLD, which at this point in the morning, here's my thing. If I can't get anything going in the first 30 minutes, the conviction, the tone of the morning is pretty much set in stone. And it's like how it's going to go. And from there, I've got a hard time building up any real conviction. As much as I'd like to get out there, make some good money, take some opportunities, it is just one of those things I struggle to be like, all right, let's get aggressive now. This is at 10:15. So we're already nearing 10:40 as things begin to really slow down for the day. And I've got, today's a 2R green day. And so it's a small green day. Do I try and get aggressive on these names, which, for example, XHLD had terrible price action way back here. Price action was horrible. Looking at massive spreads, I think, and this is a $2 stock, and I had 4-cent spreads. I said, no, I can't do that. So it tightened up later in the morning once some more volume came in. It was a bit more liquid. And so I was able to finally fire a shot on this, and I left a ton of profit on the table because, again, I lacked so much conviction from the tone set in the morning, at the start of the morning. And so we reclaim these past lows. Again, back here, look at this. We reclaim these past lows. Price pivots above, breaks above, pulls back, confirms. I'll take an entry on the pullback. Perfect entry. Could not have been any happier with that. And I see it begin to hesitate because what we have here, look at this. It begins to hesitate out of the side. Look, and I'm like, all right, this looks a little bit meh. Like it's trying to go, but doesn't really have that strength to it. It looked very meh. Then volume comes in, able to scalp a little bit off these pullbacks. And again, price action just terrible. I say, you know what? I'm done trying with this. And so again, I've got some decent profit on it, but I'm unable to really get it going. Really, with the lack of conviction that I had. It's one of those things where it's the context of the day. It's the daily context. Daily context is not there. And so there's only so much that you can do. So whenever I'm this late in the morning, and by this time it was 10:30, 10:40, and I'm like, I'm small, I've got small profit on the day, not a whole lot of profit cushion to work with here, and not a whole lot of conviction on the stocks that are moving. At that point, it's tough, and I feel like if you don't have good cushion in the first half of the morning, I don't know about you, but my conviction for the remainder of the morning is pretty much screwed. I don't want to go flipping red. I don't want to dig a hole. I don't want to give back. It just shows that the day is just, it's not the day. And so I'm watching GITS here, and this was a really tough one as well because look at this. You have this major overextension out of these first two halts. All right, so I left it alone there. It gets breaking, puts in place this nice range, higher low. And I'm trying to take this here. And looking back, I want to talk about this real quick because this is something that I find myself doing sometimes. My one weakness. And I'll look back at this and I'll say, did I really have any range from this entry? This is my one loss of the day, by the way. My one loss of the day. And so while we have a nice pullback entry here, VWAP, 90 MA is confluence, it's looking good. The problem lies, I want you to look at this here, and I want you to tell me what you think it is. The problem lies with the fact we have no range. When you're playing a pullback like this, we have no range. And so I know I made a mistake today. It is one of those things where it's like, I don't care how long you've been trading, you're going to make mistakes. It was a slow day. I was trying to get something going. I had a buyer stepping up off the 90 MA. As you can see here, this candle was getting bought up aggressively. I tried to take it for the quick squeeze up through 640, 650, back up into the previous high of day. And as you can see, I just don't get that. And so it's one of those things where I try to put the foot on the gas on a day where you shouldn't be putting the foot on the gas, and a day where I couldn't really find a whole lot to trade. And I took a loss. The one loss I had today was this right here, and it was because of the lack of range in this channel. If we had previous highs looking like, for example, here, that would have been a great setup, or at least a better setup. But the fact that we had that previous lower high right there, it ruined this setup completely. And so going into the rest of the week, something I've got to be more aware of. And it's not often I make mistakes like this anymore. I've been doing this for so long. But I want to be transparent. I want to be honest because you're never going to be perfect. We come back out after breaking out over these lower highs. You can see we broke out here. We have these lower lows and lower highs putting in place this tightening channel. It gets breaking back out, reclaims VWAP, and able to take a nice little trade here. As you can see, 3,000 share trade from 540s back up into about 570s. So 540 back to about 570 on the play there. A little bit of something to try and get the day just padded a little bit, and that was the last trade I took of the day. So this was it. After this didn't follow through, I say, you know what? I'm done trying today. Today is wrapped. We're done, and we'll come back tomorrow, do it again. So, and it's hard to look around and you see some of these stocks moving like MOVE, and you're like, well, do I go and try to trade this? No, this is a death wish. No. And I saw a lot of people today trying to play this. They see something moving. That's all they care about is, oh, this is moving. I got to go play it. No, the spreads here are like 50 cents a share. This is nonsense. This is complete and utter nonsense. That was the issue today as a whole, is the spreads on XHLD, the spreads on PHGE. Spreads were just disgusting. So I came in today, did what I could, stayed picky. One little mistake that, hey, I'll work on going the rest of the week. We'll try and cut that out and be more cognizant of it, because on slow days like today, yes, I want to get it going, but I've got to stop trying to anticipate and trying to make days into big green days. I think because of the last few weeks, how things have been so hot, you come in on a day like today, you want to get it going too, and you just can't. And you try to get aggressive on a day where you shouldn't be. That's just how it is. So less of that, more of this is how it's going to go, as always. So that being said, overall, a pretty good day today. Now, obviously, it's not where I want it to be. I wish we had better opportunities, but still, I'm very happy with execution today. Another day of clean trading, but a day of wishing we had a whole lot more to mess with. So that being said, if you did learn a thing or two from my mistake today and how I traded today, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this. Overall, like I said, very happy with the day. And as always, make sure to claim your 7-day free trial in the description below to trade alongside me in real time every single day. And you get alerts, education, watch list, chat room access, scanners, news, momentum, AI, our journal. And that being said, I will catch you there for an awesome day ahead and hopefully with much better opportunities. I'll see you there.